Okay, let's go ahead and roll into our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series driver availability. And Jimmie Johnson has joined us. He's six-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion. And
you know what, Kerry? I've always heard that you were considered a second-rate citizen if you didn't make the chase. And I'm kicked out, and you guys are also here talking to me. They've all been lying all this time.
Jimmy, it's
I guess it does matter.
It's
Others
America.
do matter.
It's America.
That's fantastic.
Jimmie Johnson is, as I said, a six-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion, and he's an eight-time winner here at Talladega, or Martinsville. I got Talladega on the line. Martinsville Speedway, and Jimmy, interested to know what your mindset is now for these remaining four races. Obviously, you can't defend your championship, and I know being the defender that you are, you can certainly hope to win. So can you just tell us a little bit about your mindset?
Yeah, the mindset's simple. You know, we want to close out the year well. We want to finish as high as we can in points. We want to win races. That's what we're here for. We did not have a good last three races, a variety of reasons. The results weren't there. Frankly, two of those results would have eliminated us from a championship hope. And I felt like Talladega, we were given a pretty big gift there and came close to taking advantage of that opportunity. But we want to do well. We want to win races. At the same time, this does open up an opportunity for us to work on 15 from a personnel standpoint and even from a 2015 kind of test plan. Obviously, the testing's gone next year, so anything we can do this year to work on the 2015 package will suit us well. So we're not slowing down any. These last 4 weeks are going to be about as busy as any as we're getting geared up for 2015.
Thank you, Jimmy. We'll take questions now from Jimmy. For Jimmy, we'll start over here with Steve, and then we'll go to Jim and then Bob.
Jimmy, Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Historically, dating back to 1949, Martinsville Speedway has been part of the chase, part of the championship. Whatever format we have, it all rolls through Martinsville. As you look back at your championships, are there key moments, are there critical moments that kind of stress the importance of Martinsville Speedway from a historical perspective, or you personally as far as your championship runs and what it means to have to succeed here at this track across NASCAR history?
Yeah, I've always had that opinion, and I'd say that 5 of my 6 championships, we got a lot of points here on our competitor, whoever it might be. You know, we came out of here smiling. Last year racing Matt finished ahead of us, so that was the first time, and historically this isn't a Matt Kenseth track, so I was as shocked as any to see him finish ahead of me in that race. But I agree, this has been a track that can certainly shuffle the deck, and it's really been kind to a handful of guys. So with Jeff and the situation he is in the points, and I'm certainly hopeful that he can take advantage of things this weekend and have a good run.
Go on the front row, Jim Utter, then Bob Pockrass, Nate Ryan, and then Marty Smith.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. Last week you led the most laps at Talladega. Several drivers after the race, I remember Brad Keselowski, one of them in particular, noted that they had never seen you run a better restrictor plate race since they had competed with you. Was that more a circumstances of being in the need of basically needing a win, or was the car just so good? Did that contribute to it as well?
Yeah, I think it's mainly on me and the risk I was willing to take, the position I was in, the situation I was in. And it's so hard to look in your mirror for 95% of a lap and block people. It's just not in my wiring, and I don't think it's really in many's. So I was more aggressive in the car and blocking and defending and holding on to the control of a lane than I can ever recall being. And I certainly appreciate those remarks. I saw a few myself. Unfortunately, at the end, it didn't work out, and I was in a position where I think Matt Kenseth ended up at the end of the race where you got to push the 2, and I needed to beat the 2, and I needed to win. And on what I thought was the last green-white checkered, I just couldn't see pushing the 2 to the win and me running second. It wasn't going to do me any good. So made my move to get to his outside and didn't have any help. And if I made a mistake, that was it. I should have pushed the 2, but I didn't know there'd be a second green-white checkered, another shot at it.
Go Bob, Nate, Marty, and then Jenna.
Bob Parker, Story News. today being kind of the 10-year anniversary of the tragedy, does that change, I don't know, your perspective at all when you think about coming in here and not being in the chase?
Relative to the chase, it doesn't change anything. For the 400 drivers, we want to make those families smile. I've been able to win here in the fall and know that a lot of people take pride in that win. It means a lot. It means more to families than it typically would, a few families. So all four of us are here and ready and willing. And I think Jeff Gordon, showed what this race meant to him in the fall a few years ago with the spin with Clint, myself, and Jeff, and then what kind of took place after that. This race means a lot to us Hendrick drivers, and with or without a chase, I want to be the guy carrying the trophy out of here to honor those families.
We'll go Nate, Marty, and then Jenna and Barry. Nate?
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. I think I saw somewhere that you were reflecting on the last time you were in this position of being out of the chase was like 2011 when you saw the news conference with Tony and Carl, and that was when it really hit you. But I mean, beyond that, I think this is the first time in 11 years that you've been eliminated like this early and had this much time to reflect. Have you had a chance to think about that this week? Has it sunk in at all? And I guess, what are your emotions about, for the first time since 2003, you're not really in it in the last few races of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we, fortunately or unfortunately, are busy looking forward and trying to use the rest of 14 to get ready for 15. So I haven't spent a lot of time. I can say that leaving Kansas, leaving Charlotte, that was really when I came to grips with not advancing, not being a championship contender. When we got to Talladega, you're kind of rolling the dice there anyway with the restrictor plate racing, and it's an all or nothing thing. So it put me in an easy position to kind of relax and enjoy the weekend. But it wasn't fun leaving Kansas or Charlotte. It was relatively dark, not a lot of sunlight floating around, but you have that, and I truly believe that those moments make you stronger. They make you dig in deeper, and really it's great medicine for the 48. I don't want to be in this position, but this is great medicine to sit and watch this championship unfold. It's going to motivate me, Chad, the team, all of us on the 48 team. So we'll be back next year and ready to roll. Yeah, the reality of it started sinking in after Kansas, especially the way these eliminator round, or that was the eliminator round, right? The way that round worked, and having Talladega in there, I kind of felt like advancing on points was more, a little more a long shot.
We'll go Marty, Jenna, and then Barry. Marty, all the way in the back.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Johnson, how best can you and Dale and Casey help Jeff Gordon in his quest to win this thing?
Man, it's tough to really help, especially from the 48 standpoint. We've had different setups under our cars throughout the year. We're relatively far apart on the whole setup side of things. So, outside of them painting a 48 car for us and us running it and trying to give them direct info, that's about the only way I think we can help. Of course, I'm going to be aware of where he is on the racetrack and try not to give him a hard time. And if there is something with a change that we make, spend extra time elaborating on how I felt it helped our car and address the car. So we'll do what we can and mainly be there to answer questions. And I've always won championships by keeping it simple, and I feel like getting too far away from the normal overthinking things creates problems for me. I'm not sure how Jeff wants to go about things, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just keep to themselves and keep doing what they can. That's what got them in this position. That's what's going to win them a championship.
Go Jenna, Barry, and then over here to John.
Jennifer, AP, I guess, when you fill out the bracket, everybody's got you and Junior and these big names advancing. Are you surprised that Newman and Carl and Kenseth have made it this far?
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about Carl and the fact that he's made it through pretty quietly. It really just shows you that collecting points is still important. We've been, in my own mind, and I think as far as the 48 is concerned, we've been so focused on winning that there's an argument that we overlooked just having solid runs. Although we did that in the first 3 races and transferred with ease, it's not a bad approach, to go out there and still be conscious of top 5s and top 10s and make sure that you stay alive. Yeah.
Barry, John, and then Jeff. Barry, over to the right.
Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcast. And Jimmy, I think you touched on this just a few moments ago, but I remember a few weeks ago in an interview, you reflected on the low times in a career, how that's a good opportunity for learning and things of that nature. Would you consider this a low point? You've made it to the chase, and if so, maybe what the learning is and what you're taking forward.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to call a three-win season a low, but the standard that we have set for ourselves is our own doing, and we're used to winning a minimum of 3, always competing for championships, and certainly lots of top 5s, and we just haven't had all of that. We've had some hot spots, but the consistency and consistently running up front, we've lacked that this year. We've got 4 races to close out the season on a positive note, but then again at the same time, making sure that we're doing all we can in 14 to get ready for 15.
Far right over here, John. Excuse me, Jeff Gluck, and then we'll end with Jeff Hood back there.
Jonathan Merriman, WSLS. Jimmy, obviously the bumpers is a tool here, but given the overflow from Charlotte and Talladega not being a good chance to put the bumper to somebody safely, do you think that'll carry over here? And what do you think the odds are that all 8 chase drivers will come out of this thing unscathed in terms of a crash?
Yeah, I think chances are low for all 8 to come out with straight race cars. Things do carry over. You can put them away, but if you're back racing with that individual and they use you up a time or two, then you remember and you maybe just don't push the brakes as hard, or maybe get to the gas a little earlier than you should have. So those moments seem to surface on short tracks. So there is always a chance for that, and it doesn't have to be a pre-existing issue. It can just happen during the course of a race too. So there can be plenty of madness here.
We'll go to Jeff Gluck, front row, and then end with Jeff Hood.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. I'm curious. I mean, obviously the new rules package is responsible for a lot of the blame for what's happened to you guys this year. What % of the blame does that get for you guys for as a season as a whole, not just the chase, as far as being not where you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, it is different. Our other teammates have seemed to find, and we've won some races, so we have found our way with it as well. But I'd say the 24 has been most consistent. The 4 has been kicking us all in the teeth week after week with the speed that they've had. So we're going about it wrong. So we can easily say, well, things have changed, but our equipment's still winning races and running fast with other teams. So the responsibility is really on Chad and myself. It falls on us. It has to. Areas of what I want the car to do and where I'm looking for the car to perform versus how Chad and the engineering group go about giving me that. So I think it's within that. It's the thing that's always been our strength wasn't our strength this year, and we've got to find a way to get back to that.
Final question, Jeff Hood in the middle.
Hey, Jimmy, Jeff Hood of RacingToday.com. The pairing of great drivers and crew chiefs in this sport have eventually all come to an end. We saw that with Gordon and Evernham several years ago. Do you see the day when maybe Chad is not on your pit box?
Yeah, that day's out there. I mean, I think that a crew chief's lifespan is much shorter than a driver's. They live in dog years, and drivers can carry on much longer. But I've been accused of being loyal to a fault in the past, and that's me. And I have no plans or desire to make a change. So when Chad decides he's had enough of being the guy on the box, then it'll be his decision to step down. But as far as I'm concerned, we've made it 13 years in this thing. I want to see it go as long as it can. And we're honest with each other and know each other well enough to work through the bad times. I mean, it might not be pretty, and I'm sure you guys have heard things on the radio that got your attention, but we're like family, and we fight like family, and we can call each other out on that stuff. And you only hear a piece of it on the radio. There's plenty more that goes on behind closed doors and the meetings and all that other stuff. So, again, to circle back to your question, it's really more of a time frame of when Chad says someday that I've put in my time here as crew chief, and I need to slow down a little bit.
Jimmie, thanks for coming in, and good luck this week and the rest of this season.